Welcome to Reality After Show coverage of the Challenge All-Stars 5 Rivals, your home for all Handjob Steve coverage. I'm your host, Dan Montchal, joined as always, Alex Trias, and the person that we were deprived of seeing on a rival season, Mr. Paulie Calafiore.
Oh, man, there's a long list to choose from, guys and girls, but, it's okay. They made the right decision because the Challenge, they care so much about our health all the time. They never put our lives at jeopardy. But this time around, they were worried about my concussions. So thank you guys to the challenge. Thank you, Challenge gods. I think judging by the first daily today, I don't think I would have hurt my head. I don't
know, man. I saw a tweet right after the episode aired from Melissa saying, like, the reason why you don't see me and Nicole during the daily is because Nicole gave me whiplash because she lost her shoe in the mud and almost drowned me in it.
Nice.
Like,
I think that was probably intentional on Nicole's part.
I
feel like she wanted to roll around in the mud with Alyssa. Maybe.
There's in Nicole's words, they're plastic tits. What can you say about it?
I feel like we need to put out a PSA before we start doing these recaps of All-Stars 5. Guys, this is our podcast. This is our podcast. We do weekly recaps of this. Very similar to Derek. Very similar to Bananas. I don't know who else has a consistent one. Zach. I don't know if there's anybody else, but this is consistent, guys. We thank you guys for the free promo. Trust me, I don't really need the relevance. I'm very relevant, but this is our podcast. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you guys sharing the show. Even though you do give us kind of either the news coverage where it's you kind of only give half of the clip and then you spin it in your caption to how you want people to respond to it. You take the things out of context. We love it though. We say things to purposely get that. So thank you guys for falling into our marketing traps.
Yeah, then, I can just start right here for the clips right now. We spent all of season 40. We're down with the old era. Go back to All-Stars if you want to have your relevancy and you want to not have such an enduring time. Go on All-Stars. But, I think this is a good start to this season. They brought so many of the classic OGs like Turbo and Melissa,
Fessie,
Amber, Corey Lay,
Corey Lay.
OGs.
Hold on. Listen, I don't want to get anybody else upset over the precious OGs. I know we've been hard on them for season 40. Thank God the participation trophy season's over. The tour, and I love Rachel, but the tour that she has been on to justify that participation trophy win is actually insane. I would have just taken the win, taken the money, and just stayed silent and just been let everybody else talk, and then I'll come out with a statement being hey guys, listen, I can't control how the twists work. I really, if I could have chosen, I would have happily taken third place. And, Michelle deserved second. Jenny deserved first, but she is doubling down on it. Classic. She is learning from her master, Johnny Bananas, 100%. The best thing that I really love about strong women on the challenge is they will always get on their knees for Johnny Bananas. And I love that. I love that for him. But anyway, I digress. I got a different take.
Yeah.
I can't even stay serious going through the bit. I got a different take. Anyway, not to ramble about, All-Stars is where the OGs should live. But I'm sitting here seeing all of these not OGs there. And the only thing that I can say to it is you guys really needed the new people's help because All-Stars, the OGs couldn't keep it that relevant. Cara came back on All-Stars 4. It was finally talked about. But here we are, 5th season in. You already need all your CBS people help, all of your new people help, all of the irrelevant people. But I was happy to see some old faces.
Which ones?
Like Frank, even though he's been a little shady to me, he looks good, and I feel like he's good there. Dario, I mean, like I would have never even known who that guy was, but just watching this for the first time, I was like, a good-looking guy. Seems like he's, bringing the fun a little bit.
That would have been a fun experiment if Dario just walks out, and how many people would have not realized that he actually was on the show before. Because I think it would have been half the cast.
Twin.
I'm pretty sure. Love seeing all the appearances of. I mean, I feel like every girl was like, "We're going boobs out." Episode 1, all of them.
Yeah.
We thank you for that. For the boys, appreciate y'all. Like we're in here. Ashley K, looking fuego. Ashley Mitchell, looking fuego. Veronica, I wouldn't put those cannons in the same category as the other ones, but they were out. The girls were out.
The girls were out and they were feasting. No, yeah, it's so interesting though, because there's like five or six people you would actually consider for as like the OG, like the style that All Stars would call it as. Like you have, I guess Shane counts as one actually because he was Road Rules. So like Shane, Beth, Veronica, Katie, and then Handjob Steve and Spin on it.
Yeah.
Shout out down, by the way. He's hilarious.
I forgot to mention, this is about to be a Handjob Steve Stan podcast.
It is. And they came out pumping hard on this challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Always come out on top.
Star of episode 1, Handjob Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, if you're interested in your Handjob Steve shirts, we actually made them. You go to the link that's in the description notes, and you can go buy your own Handjob Steve's All-Stars Fan Club t-shirt that you will see the three of us wearing later on in the season.
This is the pose that we had him as, or is it like
Something
this?
It's the hands are like this. Like when he first comes in, like, I was a hand model. I do jobs, hand jobs.
Yeah.
With no beard this time. It took me off guard.
He looked good.
He looked good. He reminded me of like old school, like 90s Jack Black.
Yes.
Yeah, that face, all like that. You want OGs, you want All-Stars, you want the look of Handjob Steve. Okay, people, look it up.
Not only that, but he ain't playing for the next season. He isn't playing for the game. He didn't reach out to Adam to apologize. He's still not apologizing to him.
And he should.
He stands on his own business.
Dude, my favorite part was him attempting to apologize with Adam, and the conversation starter was, I was really hoping there was a bath in the house. No bath.
Well, I tried, folks.
It's like, well, I tried.
Well, you have to remember, in All-Stars, he got nominated because he decided to go into the shower and tell us all about his skincare and hair routine, of what moisturizers he uses and what type of conditioner and post-conditioner he uses. So, I think that's his bonding experience. It's like, let me talk about the bathroom.
That's probably why he doesn't have the beard, is he didn't pack enough of the products. And he's just like, if I can't keep this thing silky smooth all season, like, it's going, because
I have to keep the hair long, so it's either cut my hair or shave the beard. Gotcha. No, but I actually like them as a pairing for the rivalry, because like it actually is a rivalry that you can base off of the show, no matter how real or unreal it is. You could be like, okay, yeah, Steve screwed him over. Was it justified? If you actually watch the tape, yes.
Yeah,
because,
I was a little confused at like Adam like kind of playing the victim on it, because I was like, if I remember watching All Stars 4 correctly, like, you were the dickhead. He just kind of was like, I'm taking your star.
He was agreeing to send Steve into elimination.
Right.
Trying to protect him.
I think we should all be thankful for this, because that moment, I think, really sparked Adam's personality on the show, and also like into off season and everything. Like, I've seen him in person. He's great. He's hilarious. But I was like, up until that point, he was just being like, oh, I'm friendly to everyone. It's like, sure, Steve's my buddy. I'm not going to defend him. But then when Steve gets the star, or the opportunity to take the star, it's like, oh, I could take it from Adam, who's actually been doing well this season, or take it from Ace, who's there, or Leroy, who
it was Leroy, yeah,
or Leroy, who Steve specifically says oh, I want to be in a final with Leroy because he can't do puzzles. So you're like, yeah, you have to take it. Just give him a bullshit apology, Steve, and Adam will be like, yes, I'm your best friend again. Let's do this. Let's do it. Because
Steve
look,
stands
even
on
when you
business.
guys hate each other, you guys killed it on the first daily. Whether or not you should have is a different story, but
very true.
Yeah, Dan. What are we thinking about the start of this season? This premiere, this hyped up premiere of 55 minutes and just a daily.
I think at this point we kind of just got to talk about the teams as well as, you know, thoughts of how they're going to do on the season, what we can expect, predictions, because there isn't a lot really to break down. They gave us 55 minutes that was mostly just reintroducing us to a lot of these people, or showing us some of the major drama points potentially coming for the season. So I think this is more of, let's just discuss the teams in depth and kind of get our thoughts on what we're thinking they're going to do this season.
Okay. Let's start with the winners. Like we already talked about Handjob Steve and Adam. This is going to be a Handjob Steve and Adam fan podcast, mainly Handjob Steve, but we'll give Adam his love too, because they're partnered together. They're going to kill it. I think this first daily showed that there's going to be a ton of these challenges where being a guy pair is just going to be an outright advantage over the field.
I think they overcorrected because, you know, when Paulie was on back, that would have been Final Reckoning. They almost made it so that any team, whether it was guy or girl, had a disadvantage if they were going against a girl team, where now it seems like we don't have that offset. So it's unfortunate to say, but it's almost all of these girl teams. If the first challenge is indicative of how the season's going to go, they have no shot. You either need to be one of the guy teams, or you need to be guy strong woman pair, or I don't see how you're going to make it through this season. It's
crazy because, you know, everybody, like, I feel like, you know, when they come up with the themes and all that stuff, like they definitely try to have a pulse on like what people online are saying. Right. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, oh man, Final Reckoning, you know, War of the Worlds. And it's like they bring back a Rivals season. Great.
Perfect.
Everybody's been asking for it. But then they took the one thing that everybody was saying was the dumbest shit ever from Final Reckoning, which was having guy teams, girl teams, guy-girl teams paired up. And they just were like, we're going to do it. And like, it's clearly like, I can already see fans complaining about this as the season plays out. I could already see the people there probably complaining about it and making a big deal about it while we're there. Unless this season is like all carnival games and it's like chancy and anybody can win anything, but
I mean, it's all stars.
Not based off of the first daily.
Yeah, not based off of the first daily. If we're going based off of the first daily, it's like, all right, the two guy teams are just going to win back and forth all season long.
But we have to remember, All-Stars 4 started in a similar fashion. Like, the first daily that Caro won was a very physical, very, like, heavy endurance, really like, you're going to prove it right now. And then there was a bunch of carny games.
Yeah.
Like, very so... we can't really take this in isolation and be like, oh, this is what all this season's going to be. Like the next episode could very well just be like, oh, and you guys are in a inflatable human-sized hamster ball, run around, and then that's the challenge.
Yeah,
like, we don't know yet, but we know that.
Yeah, let's talk about the other
guy team.
Which I do love when they're bringing it out. Leroy's comment of, if Jordan walks in, I'm gonna leave.
You notice they didn't say that about Rachel. They're like, "Oh, if Jordan comes in, I'm leaving." They weren't. You didn't hear any girl being like, "Oh, if Rachel Robinson comes in here, don't let her get third place because she will get first."
It's, you know, thinking about it more, just getting more pissed off of all the OG propaganda.
The OG propaganda. I would say since right before Christmas until like the end of 40 and leading up to this, it has been insane, dude. People are coming at Jordan. I saw Derek and Rachel and Tina coming at Jordan online, and I'm like, even
All of
CT
them.
was chiming in on the comments, and I was like, "Et tu, Brute?"
It's crazy because, like, as always, when I'm going to talk about here, CT is the exception. He's not the rule, because CT is always the exception, not the rule. But the OGs, all the Era 1 people that just sound off being like, oh, you know, we're what the show wants. No, they're not. There's a reason why if you have Paramount Plus, you can't get the first 10 seasons. I'm sure it's not because they actually don't want to see them, but you can't get that. When people talk about the heyday of what they love of the challenge, they're referring starting at Era 2. There's a reason why the big names come from Era 2. You have Bananas, you have Wes, you have Cara, Evelyn, Laurel, Sarah Rice, Kenny, Evan. Like, and then it bleeds into Era 3 where you get Jordan. But the heyday of the show was Era
Jordan.
2 in the beginning of Era 3, not the first 10 seasons.
Yeah, and it's like from Era 1 in those seasons, like 10 through 20, like CT and Darrell were really like the only, I mean, I guess, what, Landon too? Or did Landon come in
Landon
Era 2?
was in Era 2. He would have been Era 2.
Yeah, Landon was there
Yeah.
too.
So, like, I only say this because it's like I randomly stumbled on, while I was in Vegas, Inferno 2, Gauntlet 2, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, this Landon guy, goated. Like, I wasn't even familiar with his game, but he was like, but once again, those episodes were focused around the good competitors. The good competitors. Like, the bad competitors were like made fun of, like laughed at, and like the biggest takeaway that these OGs with their propaganda failed to mention is that on those seasons, they were all in shape and good looking. There's no fat people and like no ugly people. And like, even watching this episode as they were like doing the flashbacks of like Veronica now, Veronica then, it's like, if I could, how could she watch that and not be like, damn, look at me when I was like skinny and hot, and look at me now? Like, in the heyday, people were watching that because it was a bunch of really good looking people doing really athletic things, wanting to rip each other's throats off for nothing. And these OGs are still talking like they are still that. And they still talk like they look like that. They compete like that. They don't. Like, they're there. No drama, no nothing, just chilling, like collecting a paycheck. Like, the most embarrassing thing about the OGs is like, in that era, in their heyday, if old people came back looking the way they did now and competing the way they did now, they would have been bullied, they would have been laughed at, and they would have been thrown into every elimination and cast out. So, like, let's stop with the OG propaganda. It's embarrassing. It's getting embarrassing at this point. Are we going to talk about Veronica's entrance? Even that was embarrassing.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So they split them all into their pairs, and then it leaves all poor Katie all by herself. Unfortunately, Dan, there was no bumming a cigarette in the meantime while waiting for her partner.
You give her time. I have faith that Katie can find that pack of cigarettes.
But we then get to the daily. She still doesn't have her partner. And let's be real, it's most likely that Veronica missed her flight, or there was a complication with her flight, and they're just like, oh, we had to work our way around it. It's like when CT and Ashley were late. I forget what season
30,
it was
30.
now.
30. CT couldn't get into the country.
CT had passport problems.
Announce the entire cast, and then have a cliffhanger episode of like them being intro. It's like Veronica was already announced.
Yep.
With the cast, and then you like left this cliffhanger in this episode. Like, anybody who saw that is like, all right, well, clearly Veronica's Katie's partner.
It is upsetting because I think no one's happy to see Veronica back. No, the fans are anyway. Competitors, I'm sure, thinking if we could get her to a final, this would be sweet. But the fans, no one wants to see Veronica back. But you could be excited to see Katie back. And it's unfortunate because right away that Veronica's there and Katie is attached to an anchor that has zero shot at making it past, episode 4, unless they're carried.
Depending on what the format is, because we still don't really know.
If I ever did a season with Veronica now, The only reason why I'd throw her in early to get rid of her is just out of spite, just to prove a point, because that's a guarantee. If it's a partner season or a team season, I'm like, what can I do to keep her in the game? It's a guaranteed win at the end.
Right. Like All-Stars 4, Rachel hands her a star because
she had no shot of getting a star otherwise.
Well, yeah, she didn't have a way of getting it on her own. 2, it's like she wanted to help her friend. She wants all of her friends to be at the final. Sure. Number 3 is, well, why don't you give it to Tina then before Veronica? And I think she did switch to Veronica because she was like, well, they won't actually target Veronica. So Veronica will actually get there. And it's a possible thing that can happen in this season, except for how they distributed the stars first here. Because if it's going to be something where like that these people have to go down to elimination against the people with stars in order to keep them, good luck. But this pairing also really highlights this season where you have pairings that are like, oh, these people are going to dominate. And then you have these pairings like, now, why did you give this person this anchor? There's at least 3 different teams here, or 4. There's 4 different teams where I'm like, person that I'm like sort of excited to see or very excited to see. And then I look at their partner and I'm like, well, good luck.
It's the one thing with this season that if you look at this cast is, sure, some of these teams may be dragged along, but we start with 13 teams. You look at it like, all right, this is like a 5-team race. Like there's really only 5 teams that can actually win this season.
I'm going to go back to Veronica's entrance because I'm going to give you guys,
please.
I'm going to give everybody a little peek behind the 4th wall, right? So, and I don't think I could get in trouble for saying this. So you noticed how like out of nowhere, she just kind of like magically appeared with an edit, like in camera frame. Mm-hmm. Well, the way that they actually have to do that on set, because, you know, you're supposed to be hidden. This person's supposed to be hidden. But in an open field like that person is hidden way away in the woods. So that means that TJ yelled, bring him out. And then there was a producer by Veronica, probably like 200 to 500 meters away. That was like, all right, you got to go run. And Veronica had to run 500 meters. And you could only imagine how long it took her to run 500 meters to the point where they were just like, all right, we just got to get her there. And we'll just like edit it and post. Like her just get like, by the time she got edited in, she was like barely moving, like trotting, zigzagging, missing the ropes because apparently on Ride or Dies, when she made her entrance, she tripped over the ropes 3 times. So they had to like imagine like coming in late and it's like, we got a heavy hitter coming in, Veronica, and everybody's like, oh, trips and falls on her face. And it's like, takes away the whole intensity of a heavy hitter coming in. But then she goes back and trips again to the point where like the 3rd time she finally made the entrance and they were like, all right, we got to use this edit and we got to take them cheering and being shocked from the first time she walked in. Like her twinkle toeing in a zigzag pattern was to make sure that she didn't trip again. And I don't want to keep like making fun of the OGs and I don't want to use Veronica as a punching bag, but like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's really, and then like, you do this really hyped up thing of like, once again, the fight of her and Katie. But as I'm watching Inferno 2 and all these, and like these older seasons, Veronica's like winning things, winning eliminations, winning dailies. She's skinny. She's hot. She's feisty. She's got a little attitude to her. She's bullying people. She's nasty to people. And, you know, now I'm not going to say what I want to say because it would be very mean. It would be very, very mean. But yes, if filming women running in slow motion is what made Baywatch popular, filming Veronica running in slow motion is going to kill the challenge.
Well, her slow motion, unfortunately, at this point is like real time. But it's like that. Like if I was Veronica, because the issue is old school Veronica before she makes like her comeback is like. It's like a good story. Like it's like one of the bigger names in terms of like of the winners. Like she was the only 3-time winner for so long before like Evelyn. But
she was a big deal, like because she had a little bit of a break when she came back for what that would have been like the Ruins. She had 6-7 seasons off. Like that was a big deal, and she came back that time, and she was still in relatively good shape and hot. and then it's her second layoff. Like,
but it's like, look, am I saying like, oh, she needs to look like how she looked like 20 years ago? No, like that's an unrealistic expectation I would put on her. But I'm like, I would
Katie
love
still looks good,
right? I'm just saying like, there's some people with their body types so it can be them. However, some of it's a choice, and I'm like, if I'm Veronica or like some of these other people who come back after a long layoff, I would want to like, yes, I want my paycheck. I want to get a consistent paycheck, but I also want to be able to get the main prize in addition. Like, I want to be able to know that if I can get myself to the final, even if people underestimate me, I might be able to surprise them and beat them in the final. And at this point in time, Veronica comes onto the stage. I'm like, okay, she might beat me to the final because of her positioning, whatever, her political game, however you do. If I get there in the final and she's won my main competition, I can jog and I'm fine.
Veronica is exactly.
I can't give Veronica an excuse because I know what she gets paid. Yeah. Hire a fucking personal trainer. Hire a personal trainer. Like, get in fucking shape, dude. It's like, it's embarrassing. Like, I know what you get paid. To hire a personal trainer for 10 weeks, which would get you in decent shape, would maybe cost you maybe $2,000.
Yeah.
The fact that Anissa figured out something prior to Veronica says it all. Like, this is something that we've been asking for Anissa to get in better shape or stop coming on for years. And she's actually in the process of doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Veronica can't. Like, that's why we don't need her back, because we know at this point she's showing up simply for that paycheck. And if you're only going to simply show up for that appearance paycheck, stay home.
Yeah. But, yeah, so they're a team. I might as well, if we're going to talk about the top, we'll talk about the bottom. Let's talk about another anchor here. Imagine if I knew that Beth would be my partner. The amount of negotiating I would do for what my appearance fee would be through the roof, because you are asking me to not win. And that's what they're asking Jonny to do here is, Jonny, you're going to come here, you know, you're going to be partnered to Beth. Like, she tried to ruin your marriage. She can't do anything. She's never done anything. She's not a good political game, not good strategically, strong, socially, awareness, anything.
Likely to quit by episode 4.
Like,
dude,
good on Jonny for not just outright leaving.
I'm friends with Beth, and I think it was Gauntlet 2 I was watching where she literally didn't do the elimination against Anissa because she was like petrified and just like was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. And just bounced. And yeah, like, I mean, listen, there are good points made on both sides. Like, I agree that people's personal lives should be left out of the game and everything, even though that, you know, has that type of respect hasn't been shown to me or Cara. We'll let it go. I still am a firm believer on that, but I'm also a firm believer on accountability. You know what I mean? Like, when I've done things wrong, it's like, hey, yeah, I messed up. So it's like, as much as, and it's like, once again, I love Jonny. She's my sister as well. But it's like, hey, listen, yeah, Beth wouldn't have been able to say shit about, you know, what may or may not have happened, you know, to cause some friction, you know, with your married life and your kids, if there was nothing to say after all this time. But yeah, that was, that's an interesting pairing. If I was Jonny, I'd be like, damn.
Yeah, and it's like, look, I understand the appeal of Beth because I see people online that are like always excited when Beth shows up, but I'm like, what are you like being excited for? And it's just like, if I'm Jonny, I'm not crying over the marriage stuff. I'm crying about being being partnered with her, just because I'm like, if Beth couldn't do it in her heyday, what makes me believe that she's gonna be able to compete against Turbo?
Her lack of self-awareness is just my favorite part of it.
I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah, me and Jonny, you know, me and Jonny, like, we buried the hatchet and now we're on the same page. Like, good.
Dude, that was
the one thing about Beth.
They had one conversation, made no headway, the first daily on the fly interview, she's like, "We're good, we're winning, we love each other," and Jenny's just like, "What?" I think that's what people love about Beth. Like, I was cracking up during that.
Oh yeah, no, that's like
laugh.
I was gonna say that's the positive that Beth brings. It's just because she will just convince herself of a universe, and that's the universe that she's living in, even if it's not reality. And you have these fun confessionals, you have this banner that will not last long. Like, if they're here by episode 3, color me shocked, because I'm just like, oh, we are together, we are bonding, we're working so well together. Cut to John 8. We don't work well together. We suck.
We hate each other.
We are literally in last.
Her own world, the way that Zenata lives in her own world, in the sense of like, I got a girlfriend now. Like, I'm a change.
They show the girlfriend.
Like, she is 1,000% cheating on her girlfriend on TV again. Like, so this will be another relationship. Like, I already went through it once, people, where it's like relationship at home. Cheating on TV doesn't end well. Zenata's always trying to be like, I'm a changed person. Got this person that I love at home, only to consistently fuck up on TV. And look, it's going to
always by like episode 2 as well. It isn't even like she's battling with it, being like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. It's
look, what can you say? If you put me in a room with a blonde bombshell, something's going to happen. I can't control myself.
No, like, Zenata, put yourself in a room with anything with a pulse, and you're not going to be able to control yourself. Like, anything with a vagina and a pulse, you're going after it.
And look, Melissa's hot. We all know this. Like, it's not surprising if you're going to be like, damn, like, she's fucking hot. This is going to be a struggle for me. But, like, you can see in her eyes in that confession, she's like, it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. And then they show the girlfriend.
Dude, they didn't do her girlfriend at home any justice, dude. Like, they took the one clip where she's, like, zooming in on the camera. And everything, like, not good lighting, not good angles, everything. I'm like, damn, you're really doing this, girl.
They are leaving her out to dry.
Nicole is essentially that person. Like, don't touch that. It's hot. And by 2 seconds in, touches it. But that's just with her relationships, being like, no, stay faithful. And she's like, you told me to. Like, I can't do it. Like, it's this works.
Yeah. And despite all that, they're gonna do well. They're gonna make it to like the end of the game, maybe not make the final.
Melissa's running like, her typical playbook. Come in, flirty, everything, jump in the pool with your clothes on, run around soaking wet, walking up to people, like it's over. She's got everybody in the house wrapped around her finger at that point. I would love to get Dan's take on the amount of mentions of children and childhood and moms and stuff.
It's been a minute.
It's, how much I hate it. It sucks. The fact that, TJ, I love you. You're my boy, but you didn't need to tee them up and say, oh, this team, it's 2 new moms, which if you wanted to do something for Sylvia, like, she just had a baby. I get having to mention that because from the last time we saw her, okay, this is something new. But then for Melissa to be like, she isn't the only mother here. She's like, the rest of you fuckers, we know you have kids. Like, this is nothing new.
Yeah. And honestly, I was sitting there watching it with Cara, and I turned to her and I was like, if I ever had kids, I wouldn't even talk about them on the show. And if it did get brought up, I wouldn't use it as a time to be like, I'm this changed person. Like, I got, my kids are going to be watching this. I'd be like, no, I'm going to be the same motherfucker I've always been. And if my kids are like, hey, Dad, what's this that I saw? I'm going to be like, yeah, that's what happens when this person, it's a teachable moment, son. All right. If this person says this, you got to do this. Be like, oh, this is a teachable moment, daughter. Okay. This is why this happened. Okay. So, like, I wouldn't change, and I wouldn't use my kids as like a crutch to try and, like, tug on the heartstrings or emotional strings of, the 50 and 60-year-old housewives that are watching this show.
Well, I mean, especially because you even have Katie that makes the mention being like, oh, I wouldn't want my daughter, whatever she has, children, to watch the clip with Veronica. It's just like, why not? It can save. Be like, oh, Mom, how did we afford to go to, I don't know, Cancun or whatever? Be like, right there. That's exactly how we got to Cancun.
Yeah. Or just go to your daughter and be like, listen, if there's a bully in the house that steps to you, don't like take it silently, like get in their face and curse them off. Like have a backbone. Like it's a good teachable moment. Like we don't have to sit here and hide these good teachable moments. Like, you know, CT is in a place like talks about his son, setting an example and all this stuff. But, you know, like if his son was ever like, yo, why'd you punch this guy in the face? He'd be like, he was fucking starting with me. You know what I mean? And like you have the right to punch people in the face if they start with you. Like that's how I imagine that conversation would go.
I can't wait for Turbo's teachable moments. That'd be great.
That requires him to actually have children.
Turbo's teachable moments would go a little something like this. Son, if you're a man, this is how men do.
Yeah.
So if you don't do, then you're not a man.
He's like, you. There are two worlds here. You are man or you are pussy chicken. Do you want to be man or do you want to be pussy chicken? If you want
Turbo
to be
just
pussy chicken,
cracking up just being himself, dude.
Oh my god,
he's just sitting on that like hammock outside.
Yeah, everyone's Nani in full freak out mode, being like, "Where's my partner? I don't know where we're sleeping." He's just chilling on the fucking cabana with blueberries on his belly, just because the house is too hot and the outside is too cold.
No, that's a real
reverse.
thing. That's a real thing though. Like I was on vacation in Mexico with Turbo, and he was rooming with one of my boys, and I'm like, "So how's rooming with Turbo?" He goes, "Bro, I'm dying. I keep turning the air conditioning on, and he keeps turning it off, saying it's too cold." He goes, "It's 95 degrees in the room right now." He goes, "I'm dying." He goes, "But I don't want to like argue with him over the air conditioning because I don't want to fight him." But even the music, when Turbo like first got introed with his cowboy hat and everything, it was like a freaking like Mexican like intro with the guitar. And I'm like, he's Turkish.
My favorite part of that of him coming in is as much as he hates him, who was the last person we saw enter the house in with a cowboy hat? Jordan.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about these next two teams then, because it sort of like transitions nicely. So we have Turbo and Nani, and we have Sylvia and KellyAnne. Let's start with Sylvia and KellyAnne. My note is Sylvia's going the John A approach of like, oh, I went away, had a kid, and within months and back on the show. Because last time John A did that, she won a streak of 3 straight finals. 2
Sylvia
wins. But like,
that.
Yeah, no, Sylvia's not doing that with KellyAnne. KellyAnne, I'm waiting for the episode where she again mentions that if she wins some money, it'll be for her pet sanctuary or animal sanctuary. That will
psychic.
Never happen.
No. The cat psychic. That's what I want.
Ooh, yes. No, she said she would stop doing the psychic.
No, that's not what I want, KellyAnne, damn it. Like, talk more about your pet psychics.
But them as a pairing, I get though, because I just think their mindsets are just like, they don't mesh. And I think it'll show in the actual show itself that Sylvia and KellyAnne cannot work together as a duo.
And it's a legit rivalry. Like, this is what we want. We don't want the little petty bullshit ones. Like, we want ones with 2 people with actual animosity. So they have no shot at really winning this game, but I think they could be pretty damn entertaining for 4 or 5 episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Sylvia would be the one that gets them to the final because she's a beast in eliminations.
I mean, and KellyAnne isn't a slouch. Like, I think when it comes to like the actual like mini final style challenges,
competitor.
Yeah,
kind of gets flustered in eliminations.
Yeah, so avoid eliminations, you're golden. But it's like once you're in there, you're probably going home. Nani.
Yeah. KellyAnne's another one that looks good for her age still.
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Age is like a fine wine.
It's kind of crazy. Like all of the era 2 people are able to still stay in shape and good looking and stuff. But the era 1 people seem to have trouble with that.
Look, I'm only upset that KellyAnne's
that's the only reason why people are tuning in. Not because of the golden age of the challenge where like, you know, seasons 10 through 20, not those seasons. They're tuning in for the OGs, guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's slow-mo,
tuning in for the OGs.
Running in. That's what the people want to see. That's what the fucking college kids with all those raging hormones are tuning in to like really get their fucking juices going. You know what I mean? Like they turn on that TV and those young college men are just like, yeah, that's slow-mo Veronica running. And those young college women are like, ooh, yeah. Let me take actually, Adam's pretty good looking for an older guy, so I can't really say much.
Adam works the dad bod really well.
Adam pulled Avery, so much respect.
Yeah,
I mean, facts.
Yeah, I would say like on the male side, not many slouches on the All-Star from the looks perspective.
No,
you know what I mean.
They handled their bodies well. But speaking of two more OGs, let's talk about Nani and Turbo. Let's just talk about the awkwardness here, because this is a in the modern day podcast right now. Within days before the premiere, obviously couldn't avoid it on social media. There was rumors for weeks. It became official in the past week that Nani and Casey have split up. Cue the premiere. I need to win this money because we are getting married and I'm about to have a kid with her and we are in the best spot of our lives. And I'm just like, ooh, I'm texting Dan while watching live. I'm like, this is so awkward. I really can't take this right now.
When did the announcement come? Was that on like Monday or Tuesday?
I think it was over the weekend.
Yeah, I don't think there was.
I think they posted.
There wasn't enough time at this point.
I don't think there was enough time.
This shows the show.
There needs to be enough time because I remember in the beginning, like when Cara and I went through our little like hiccup, there was enough time before War of the Worlds 1 aired. They completely changed the storyline and the edit of like our relationship in that realm. Like if that hiccup didn't happen, there was no storyline of like a love triangle at all.
Right.
That completely changed. And I was like, all right, I understand that. But like, I mean, maybe they strategically were like, all right, we got to do it like now. So that way they can't change the edit of like what it's going. But episode 1, that was awkward.
Yeah. And so we have her tied up with Turbo again. And obviously from War of the Worlds 1, they worked very well together. So like in theory, it's a group where I'm like, they are not going to get along because Turbo and Nani, because everyone will put it on Turbo. It is on Nani too. They are both extremely stubborn people who will get further entrenched into their mindset. So like Turbo's will get upset and like just shut down and like go away and not talk. Nani wants to be confrontational and talk all the time. Like they're gonna have so many arguments, but like it's a world where I'm like, this is your group that argues a shit ton, but will consistently get like first or second in the dailies.
I think this is going to be our reintroduction to Nani because the last few seasons that she's been on, since she's been with Casey, she's may have taken a little bit more of that Casey and become boring, not as entertaining. But I think we're going to get a glimpse of it with how messy and how much turbulence there's going to be between her and Turbo. We're going to see more pop-offs, more entertainment from her. And I think this is going to be the little appetizer to what we could get moving forward of single messy Nani again.
Yeah, it's the prelude because we would probably have to wait till 41 to actually see what can potentially happen. But given how they cast currently, I don't know. It'd be like her trying to start fucking her brothers and sisters at this point with what the cast is looking like. Which, if that's your thing, I will judge you. I will judge you. I was going to say, like, I won't judge you. I will judge you. That's weird, and you should think poorly about yourself. But Nani will be fun. I'm glad to see her here, and I like that Casey isn't there with her because I feel like then that would just have been the story the entire time is we're doing this for each other. Oh, my God. Like, if one of us wins, we both win, and I don't need to hear that. This will be a fun group. But okay, I'll jump over now to the other guy and guy group, Leroy, Devon, allegedly because Leroy was such a douchebag in Double Agents and screwed Devon over.
Now, this definitely has all the makings of we wanted Devon and Leroy on the season. So this has just happened to how it worked, but this is one of those, there's going to be no drama. We didn't even really see him talk because I assume when they came into the house, they were both cool with each other. So I don't expect it to be a storyline whatsoever of those two ever having tension between each other.
Leroy's not that type of guy. Even if he hates you, he's still going to be like, yeah, we're cool. Like, I just want to get a win, man. Like, I just want to get a win, man.
Well, if you don't get a win this season as one of the only guy pairings.
Well, there's a lot of people in this season that we can make similar cases about, like them, Nani being paired with Turbo, while Turbo doesn't have a social game, she does. So like they can balance each other out and they work together as a team. But like if she can't win here, I saw like this tweet out there where it's like she has been partnered with Turbo, with John A, with Wes, with Bananas. Like you have all these partners of her who have like gone on to win like over 13 championships combined, just not with her.
Yep.
So it's like if you can't win here, it's now gonna be at the point where you're like an Anissa, who right then and here partnered with Ashley because they can't even explain it. The show can't explain it. The players can't explain it. I literally think you could have just swapped some teams together and you could put Anissa and Nani together because Nani threw the fucking cup of noodles at Anissa in Total Madness. And then Ashley is the reason why Turbo ultimately spirals and gets sent home the first time.
Yeah, but if you paired Ashley with, Nani, then how would this crazy rivalry of her and Anissa exist?
Well, how could this incredible ride or die relationship of Anissa and Jordan exist? And maybe we should ask Beth. Let's have Beth create a universe where this is a real rivalry.
This has been we're just proving my theory even more as the fans like to say it or whatever, was that, Jordan was quote unquote shadow banned. And I don't think he ever was. Maybe I'm wrong. But if they weren't bringing him back for a few seasons, he's coming back. You know what we're going to do? We're going to pair him with Anissa. We know there are rumors out there that Ashley Millionaire Mitchell was going to be, she was, shadow banned for a few seasons. We bring her back. We're going to pair her with Anissa. So if there's any doubt that we thought, hey, we're holding someone off for a few seasons, we'll bring you back, but you're getting Anissa as your partner when it doesn't make sense storyline whatsoever.
Look, I just need them to
when it
last
happens
a while.
The third time, it's going to be confirmed. Just waiting for that third data point.
But here's the thing. What they're doing, it's sort of working here also, where it's like, now I'm like, okay, fine, Anissa can stay a while because I want Ashley here for a while. I love Ashley. Like her talking for the first time, I was like, oh man, I miss just like hearing her on the show. Obviously miss the wardrobe that she wears on the show as well. Like never change, because if it's anything like all modern challenge seasons, she's in that for the long haul. So I'm fine with that. And I would love to see her win. And there was nothing funnier than her being paired up with Anissa, realizing what's going on. And when they ask her, how does she feel? She's like, not like $1 million. I can tell you that fucking much.
But hey, Jordan didn't jumpstart Anissa's phenomenal transformation. Another argument as to why Ashley's the GOAT.
I mean, maybe this is the start again of
people getting Ashley,
respect on her name.
Might have done something.
If she can take what Jordan taught her of Anissa being able to will the white blood cells to the right part of her body and use that with Ashley, like they could be good.
Yeah, imagine Ashley explaining the same thing to Anissa that Jordan did. All you have to do is push the white blood cells over here. Oh my god, it's like, but I will say the positive about Ashley that like I always think it's funny that a lot of people call her out because they're like, oh, she's shady, she's fake. Where I'm like, honestly, I feel like she's one of the most real people that they actually put on the show, because if she doesn't like you, she makes you very aware that she does not like you.
Very true.
Like she has her people on this season. Like she has Sylvia.
She like lies Shane and does something shady. She doesn't go in her confessionals and try to act like she didn't do it. She just like owns up and she's like, I might have lied a little bit.
Yeah, she does like the little like eye thing to the side where it's like, I guess I did it.
Yeah.
And like I'm very happy that she's on this season. Like, I don't know how well she's gonna do on this specific season, but the show is better when she's on.
Without a doubt. And so we had Ashley who got the call out from TJ of being like, glad to see you back. So I think that takes us over to the person that started the show when they were walking in. We have Frank back on our screens with Sam.
13 years in the making. I didn't realize this dude was 23 when he left. Because he's always looked a little older.
But I think he was like, because you think like the real world, you were generally 21, 22, and he filmed those first 3 seasons of the challenge all back to back to back. When they do 2 or 3 seasons a year. So it's been a long time.
He's in different shape, but also like still in extremely great shape. And again, another thing of like, just like with Ashley, where they're like, oh, Frank finally said yes. Here's your partner. They literally are just like, okay, we're bringing you back. We kept you off the show for some reasons, or you've said no for some reasons. We're going to test you on that. We're going to test how patient are you? How are you able to keep yourself from not getting angry? And I saw like this tweet from like Alan Aguirre where it was actually funny, where they're like, you see Frank literally writing essays in his eyes over how frustrated he is during the daily. But he's like in confessional, be like, I can't say it. I can't say it. It's the first episode. I want to actually try to win. If I say anything, they will just quit. But like, they're gassed. They're gassed.
It sucks because it's Sam and because they have that moment in the past where it'd been almost anyone else. I think we would have gotten the real Frank right from the jump. But I'm sure every 3 months he gets shitty, DMs and stuff like that because they're just now seeing Battle of the Seasons, where it's been reminded to him over and over again for the past 13 seasons of specifically how we treated Sam. And it's just like, that's not what we want. If you're going to bring Frank back, we want the real Frank from the very beginning. So pair him with anybody else, and I think you're going to get fireworks right away.
The issue is I just don't think all the other people would have said yes, or even someone that I would have even been like interested in seeing. Because like the only other person is like Dustin. Like he gets in a yelling match with CT wasn't going to say yes to this. Wes wasn't going to say yes to this. Like Bananas wasn't going to say yes to this. Like,
are you kidding me? Dustin would have been great to hear him say, do you want to get street bitch again? Like,
yeah, I don't think Dustin wants anything to do with the show. So he would never say yes. So like, this is your one option for this team.
Dustin had a pretty traumatic experience from what I hear.
Yes.
After we filmed some scenes of something else, apparently it was printed out and posted all over the
challenge
house. The house.
Yeah. Yep. All those are true. All those rumors are true.
But Paulie, we heard you kind of say that in the past, maybe there's a little animosity, but where are you at with Frank and Sam?
I mean, I've always loved Frank. I've always been like an advocate of like bring him back. He's always been the one taking shots, throwing stones. I think he's flirting with me. I think he's just trying to get my attention, playing hard to get. I get it, even though he has a husband at home
who looks like Turbo.
Who looks like Turbo, which is kind of crazy. But always been huge advocate of Frank coming back. I loved that he was like in his confessional, he's like, oh, like I was trying to compete with the alphas. It's like, no, bro, like you were an alpha.
Yeah.
I get what he's saying.
I understand what he's saying, but it's not toxic to stand up to yourself against other men.
Oh yeah. I think it's like if we put ourselves back like 13 years ago, like what the landscape was for someone who was like realizing they weren't straight. And so then the stereotype was like, well, you can't be an alpha, so then you over alpha. But I think now we're in a world like if that was filmed,
he competed with the best.
Right. I'm saying it was a weird mindset from like a decade ago. Like if you transported that to modern day, you never even had that story. It's like, no, yeah, this is who I am as a person, and I'm gonna fuck you up. Like that. Yes. That's like what Frank just always needed to be, was like, yeah, I'm that dude, and I'm gonna put your face straight into the fucking sand.
What's crazy about Frank is he had his win right away. He had a runner-up appearance and then won the first 2 eliminations for being pulled. He was essentially on the Jordan path before he stopped coming back.
No, like
he was next up of this is going to be the next dominant force of the challenge. He dropped out. Jordan comes along and kind of takes that.
He was taking by storm, essentially, sort of similar to what Paulie was talking about earlier, of like you said, of a Jordan or like a Landon, where it was just like, it was taking the love him or hate him. You were like, you could not say shit about him or his game because of like, he would out-politic you. If he couldn't out-politic you, he would just straight up beat you. And there wasn't, outside of that weird mercenary appearance he had, like, he's never lost outside of at the final. And even when it was at the final, it was against primetime CT and steroid Wes. I say jokingly, but still. Like, you had these two guys in their prime that are among, like, are in the Mount Rushmore, or in the discussion of the Mount Rushmore, and that's what it took to beat him and Bananas. So it's like, I'm so happy to see
that was
that.
Bloated Bananas off of 3 straight finals wins. That wasn't taking that one as serious either. Like, the reason why their
rivalry was a Twitter feud. So
I mean, if they lost, it was because of how stacked the other team was, and because Bananas' endurance sucked. It had nothing to do with Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But also that was a rivalry made based on Twitter.
I do love Sam. I wish she came back in a little bit of better shape, because I think she was a beast. You know, other than obviously she got a little tired in that final, but I mean, you know, she was
sometimes
strong.
Cardio, and let's be real, cardio in sand dunes isn't something that you can really
can't prep
your body for.
It's a different kind of it's a different kind of beast.
It's also hard if
back.
Well, it's also hard when you're on that Team San Diego, which is stacked, which Frank in great shape, Zach, young Zach, who was obviously in really good shape, and Ashley K, who you could tell is just a cardio machine. Like, that's like, come on, man. Like, can't I have like Devon or Anissa on this team? That way I'm not the slow one.
But I will say the thing with Samuel, yes, she does look a lot different than where she is. I think her personality will get her through a lot of this like cast in general, especially, and being that tomboy background and more athletic background, we have seen all the videos like online of these, like when people have gotten older and they don't look like the typical athlete, but when you know ball, it's like sometimes even when you are out of shape, you are still in shape. Like,
yes.
Like, so I think, especially if not all of the challenges are as grueling, I can see her and Frank still finding a way to do well. And their rivalry isn't really one that I'm like concerned about, where we're going to see them argue. But it's like what Sam said at the beginning. This isn't a rivalry. It's just like siblings at this point, like yelling at each other, and then they'll hug each other and be like, okay, now let's go fuck people up.
I just want them to, because it's Frank, like, I just want to see them make a run. They're on my team because of what a final is. They're on my, unfortunately, they don't have a shot in hell of winning this game. Just don't go out early. Just give me at least 3/4 of the season to see some entertainment, because you could see where Frank was biting his tongue, but he isn't going to continue to be able to do that the rest of the season, and especially not if it's other people.
But look,
that's all I want.
Look, all I'm going to say is I don't think you have to worry about how long they're going to be in the game, because no matter what they're doing, I think Frank's pure competitiveness and stubbornness is going to drag this group into the final. And that's my bold prediction.
He can play the layup card.
Yeah. I mean, if he wants to show his true political game, let's see him try to play as if like, we're just not good. We're just not good, guys. Just keep us in.
And we don't know how it works, but if they can go in and they can get a star, you'd think, okay, maybe if they go into one elimination, or however it would take to get a star, assuming it's elimination, then maybe that's a team that you leave alone because you want Sam there for the final. So it could be as easy as that too, is they need to get an early, elimination win, and then they can coast. Yes, because what? Who won all the stars? So we have Handjob, Steve, and Adam. We had Derek. Oh my god, I keep wanting to call him Derek. Devon and Leroy. Nani and Turbo. Who was it? Dario and Ashley. Dario and Ashley. Okay, which also, I love Ashley. She's beautiful. I have never once in my life have seen her on a show or on a season of challenge where I'm like, yeah,
I need this on my TV. Like outside looks, it's just like she seems like a very pleasant person. But it's sort of like if we're gonna yell at Jenny, West, and all of them for like being on the show, being good competitors, but bringing nothing to the TV, we're gonna have to do this here. The only thing of interest here, which is so weird to have on this, because like, isn't she like she's like married, has a kid? They're also giving her the Johnny special.
Like, I think she just has a kid.
Okay.
No, are you kidding me? They talked about heartbreak. Dario's looking at her ready to sign up to be stepdaddy. Like,
no, and Ashley keeps making
They're
comments
both
too.
Looking at each other like,
yeah,
do you want to be my?
They're both looking at each other and looking at the rest of the cast like, oh, we're the hot ones on this season.
Yes,
deservedly so, because they are both like beautiful people. They're just people that I think will like they'll make a couple of fun like confessionals here and there, specifically Dario. But like outside of that, I'm like, they are just a team that is there.
I did love that Dario did call out, looking around the cast and be like, it's a bunch of senior citizens around here. Like, you kidding me? I thought this was the challenge.
He would be perfect on this podcast.
Don't let the OG propaganda fool you. That's what everybody actually thinks.
Dario's just not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Well, that's also probably the only thing Dario did say, so they had to get him some screen time somehow.
Well, no, we see it on the next time on for the season preview of him and Devon getting each other's faces, and looks like Devon pulls at you, Paulie, with you and Theo. And once again,
honestly, if they don't touch lips, it's not real. You know,
if you're gonna go face to face, you have to go lips to lips.
All the way in. You got to go all the way in, lips to lips.
Mm-mm.
So then, who else do we have left? Well, we have Fessie and Amber B.
Oh yeah, they are there. Like the only narrative was that Fessie was like, "Oh, you know, everyone wants to avoid winning the first thing, but I want to win the first thing, and then we don't see them again." that is their story right now.
I thought they were gonna win.
I know, like the way that they edited it was like, oh, they're gonna go in the front, and then we don't. I was like, oh,
that's a great strategy, like piling the mud on top of Amber and carrying her.
And it would only be Fessel who would like think of that strategy of like, oh, this is a perfect time for I could just shove a bunch of shit onto her, but then I can also show off how massively strong I am because I'm gonna just like carry her as if I'm carrying her after the wedding. Which, like, don't tell Chauncey that, or he'll just send another full dick pic on Twitter.
Well, I mean, this is what Fessie is.
Chauncey's like, oh, Amber has people saying she's hot. Check out my massive dick.
Truly.
People are talking about how beautiful Amber is. Look at this 12-inch fucking monster.
Yeah.
But this is what Fessie, I mean, this sums up his challenge career is yes, I'm going to carry you with all this mud on and it's great. Then we need to work together with chopsticks. Yeah, fuck this. I can't figure this out.
Yeah, and then I think the only other team is
Corey,
unless I'm forgetting one, is
Corey and Big
Devon
yeah.
Devon teams. There's two teams left. The only reason why I forgot about them is because they didn't get that much screen time. So let me very briefly.
I'm pumped that Devon's back. Obviously, special place in my heart. I'm happy to see Shane back. I think they're going to be an entertaining team.
Absolutely.
You know? I think they have a good shot.
I think they can be a low key. Yeah. I think they can low key be strong because I think both of them are so good socially. Ever since Shane's come back, he has not been a slouch in the dailies. Typically, Devon, I think, always is underestimated. And will continue to show people why she should be properly estimated, I guess.
Has been shown out in elimination too.
Yeah,
she has some really good elimination moments.
I think the only weakness that they have is that Shane decided to like somehow get his full face sunburnt before the season even started, because like that dude's face was tomato red.
He had to have done like a chemical peel.
Okay, I'll give him that. And you know what? It's not fair on him because whatever they're doing in the confessional, because I had not said it here, but I've said it to you guys in the text. Whatever they are doing in confessional, what was your budget? $2? Like, the lighting is horrible.
That plus it's Vietnam, dude. Like I don't think there was anything during the times that season 40 and All Stars filmed. There was nothing that could be done that was going to make any castmates look good in confessionals, because it was just so brutally hot there, and the sun was just so intense. Standing outside for a daily, you were done. Although I will say, it looked like Zanata was getting her makeup done by Melissa. Because when the fuck has she ever worn pink eyeshadow?
Melissa probably did do it. But that goes back to what we said at the very beginning of the show, that the girls were coming in boobs out, and maybe that's why. Be like, the lighting sucks. Let's distract half the audience.
Don't look up here.
Let's distract half the audience by not paying attention.
Dude, I get it. If there was a way to like insert my bulge on my chest, if my face was looking busted, I'd be like, let's do it. You know what I mean? But yeah. Wow.
No, so Devon, Shane, our team, I'm very much looking forward to seeing. I think they come in with a bunch of good relationships and can figure out the political game very quickly. Last team on the list, I think, is Corey Lay and Big T, who like surprisingly do decent in the daily. But you know, there are people who hate each other. Allegedly. We'll see how much they actually
hate each other about as much as Kyland, Michelle, and Olivia hated each other after being against each other on 39.
So now, why are their apologies taken, but John H just can't take Beth's apology? You know what? That is what I'm saying here.
Well, you know, there's one thing of like gameplay and then trying to ruin a marriage. A little bit of. But hey, in Beth's world, they're winning. They love each other.
So
they've already won.
The only thing that I will say that like finish up my thoughts on the episode. While yes, they reintroduced a good amount of people that we are excited to see. Hated the format of the episode. Hated the confessional room, and I don't like that the first round was literally just a daily, and it doesn't even sound like there's going to be an elimination in conjunction to this daily. It was just, we are giving people stars. I will see you next round. So, like, my main question for you there, Paulie, is like, if you're hearing that, and it doesn't sound like there's going to be an elimination that follows up, because he's not talking about last place, he's not talking about how people are going to be voted in. Do you even try in the beginning? Like, do you even try in the first daily? Because all it's doing now is you are getting a star that you know at some point either can be stolen from you or you will be put into elimination because of it.
I think getting a star early only works for people who could fly under the radar and fly under the radar well. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you almost have to be like right in that sweet spot where it's like you're good enough to win a final, but people don't think you're good enough to win a final. If you win that star, like, you're under the radar, whatever, because like a complete layup team, you're getting thrown into an elimination because people are going to want their star. Really strong team, you're going to get thrown into an elimination because people are going to want to take your stars because they don't want you in a final. And in their minds, they're like, what do I have to lose? Right? So it really depends like how you're paired up. It's almost, I feel like Fessie and Amber are sitting in a good position, not winning a star, knowing what they're capable of. I think Devon and Shane sitting in a good spot, not winning a star because they have the potential of doing it. Frank and Sam not winning a star, kind of dangerous because people are probably looking at Sam as a layup. Veronica and Katie, layup. So it's like one of those things. They're likely going to have to see eliminations. And if they don't, they're getting carried to a final because of, you know, that. But I always would try, but that's because I'm stupid.
Well, what's going to be, I guess, curious for me is it going to be exactly like All Stars 4? Like, can you go down against Beth and John A and beat them and steal a star from one of the teams because you want an elimination? Because if that's the case, I think that causes an issue. But if they've tweaked it a little bit that, hey, if you want a star, you got to call out one of those teams, then that's different, because especially if you're one of those, girl teams or the weaker ones, like you're not going to call out Devon and Leroy because you don't want to have to go against them in elimination. So how you can steal the stars, I think, is really going to determine whether winning that star early is a good move or not. Because it could go either way.
I think because it's rivals, I can see there being a sort of twist where the stars can get taken just because it's rivals and they probably want people to like blow up on each other and stuff like that, where it's like winning an elimination, people are like, all right, I'm not down there, somebody's taking my star. But imagine throwing a curveball out there where it's like, if you win a daily, you can either choose to get a star or like remove somebody's star and put it to like somebody else. That would like maybe cause a little friction. Be interesting. I'm curious to see what the twist is.
Yeah, and the only other twist-ish, which isn't an official one on the show, but one the players themselves bring up, is this idea of everyone has trapped in their minds Bananas stealing the money in Rivals 3 because it became a part of the game, and then Ashley doing it in Final Reckoning. And they're like, oh, well, would you steal the money from your person? And like, to me, if you're an actual rival and it's the first day that you're there, the answer is to yourself, yeah, I'm taking the money.
Yeah, I was so shocked that people were out loud saying, yeah. Like,
or like,
clearly,
oh, that's such a hard thing to think about.
Like, I would be like, absolutely not. And then in my confession, I'd be like, yeah, I'm stealing that fucking money.
Yeah, I'm like, in a heartbeat, I am taking that money. Like, at least Fessie did it right. Fessie did it right where he did exactly that. Because he does his typical thing in front of you, like, oh, man, I didn't even think about that. Goes to confessional. Yeah, I got loans to pay, man. I'm taking the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Just wait for it. 10, 12, 11 weeks from now or whatever, it's going to be Handjob Steve to Adam. Hey, Adam, sit and spin, bitch. As he just steals all $300,000.
He's like,
and it's gonna be fucking glorious.
No, it's gonna be something even more stupid where it's like the whole season is gonna be like Adam waiting for this apology. They get in the spot and Steve has the opportunity to steal or it's gonna be like Adam
wishes he had.
Yeah, he's just gonna be like, Adam, I'm so sorry that I took that star from you, but I'm not as sorry that I'm taking the money with me. And then that's the cut to the season. And I'm like, yes.
That'd be fucking great.
We would be donning the Handjob Steve shirts regardless, but I'll definitely be wearing it if that happens on the finale.
Dude, honestly, next season I'm just bringing the Handjob Steve shirt in just because, and I'm going to wear it.
And they better not blur it out.
No.
I'm
like, guys, you own his likeness.
Yeah, they own the rights to his likeness and image, for at least a year. So,
gotta do it.
That's phenomenal. But do you want to do any type of winner predictions before we wrap this up?
Sure. Why not do a good old fashioned winner prediction? I know Paulie wants to pick Veronica and Katie, but I'm gonna remove that from him. Like anyone but them.
Veronica and Katie totally winning. Katie could have been paired with anybody else, and she would have had a good chance, actually, because I think enough people love her. No shot Veronica's winning final ever again. It'll never happen again. I am going to put my bets on Fessie and Amber and Shane and Devon.
Okay.
Two very good bets.
Good picks. Good solid picks. Two good strong teams.
I think the two guy teams are actually going to have an uphill battle because they essentially have to win dailies.
They're going to be
otherwise. I think they're going to see a lot of eliminations, and it's hard to win multiple in a season.
True. Jordan can't relate to that. He would actually have to go into elimination.
When we say these things, Jordan, nothing is applicable to Jordan. I wish fans got that more. That like when you make generalized statements, it doesn't like how Dan says all the time. CT's the exception.
Yeah.
Jordan's
an exception too.
Anything that you put out there, Jordan's the exception to it. Like you could sit there and say something, be like, there's a final where you have to run through molten lava and be like, nobody could do that.
Yeah, I'm sure Jordan did it
exception.
like 2 months ago. We're fine.
Jordan has already figured out a way to, run at the proper speed so that his feet barely touch the lava long enough to burn.
It's what he does for fun in his free time.
Okay,
Yes.
Dan, who are your since he did 2 teams, you can do 2 teams as well.
Well, at this point, for as much as I've talked about him since All Stars 4, like you could pair Handjob Steve with Anissa or Veronica, I'd still be like, that's my guy. I'm not going anywhere else. So I will ride with Team Handjob for as long as they're around. It's just something
Handjob
special.
Steve, dude, star of the episode.
Yeah,
that and Turbo's crunching on whatever he was crunching on.
I think it was blueberries.
I think it was eating blueberries, but I think before blueberries, it had to be some sort of like cracker or something because it was just like crunching. And Nani's acting was terrible. And like, if there's one person you're going to try and cry to sway his emotions, Turbo's the last person.
The Terminator? Yeah, not the person.
Yeah, like that person who doesn't understand human emotions. You're going to try to appeal using emotion.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, her acting was terrible. It's almost like she was crying with no tears.
Yeah.
But speaking of them, if I had to pick a second team, Turbo and Nani.
Okay. Well, I'm only going to pick one of the same 2 teams as you because it'd be boring if we did that. So I'm also going to sit and spin on these hand jobs. And then, I'm going to pick because I love that he's back, Frank and Sam, and they will find a way. Honorary third pick, though, is Jordan. Because what if Jordan showed up?
Somehow Jordan's going to win this season.
They just like you go for the entire season and then you get to the final. You're with your parents. You've gone through so much and like your real final starts now. And if you can beat this person, you win the money. And you just see Jordan walk up. If Leroy was there, he would quit on the spot.
That'd be great because what I've always wanted
that's actually pretty freaking funny. I'm gonna tweet that.
Do it.
I'm writing this right now. Hold on. I'm gonna say.
Look, challenge producers. I know you guys listen to this. I just gave you guys a gold mine of an idea to also help. Like it wouldn't even be like a Rachel finger. Like you're handing Jordan another win. It'd be like it doesn't count as a win. But if Jordan beats all of you, he gets to take all the money.
Well, I mean, depending upon who's there, like if Turbo or Nani are there, there's a chance that another team wins because Turbo torpedoes his chance at winning to kill Jordan.
Oh my! No, there's so many things Turbo can do on this as his revenge.
It's too early to pick who's going to win All Stars, but I'm putting my money on Jordan.
Yeah, there you go.
What's the hashtag for All Stars? Is it All Stars 5 or is it AS5?
I think it's fully All Stars 5.
I think it's fully All Stars 5.
But Turbo also just thought about this. Because he came in saying his ultimate revenge is just taking out Nani first. What if his actual revenge is I'm going to get you to the final and then not win.
And then just sit down.
Sit down.
Honestly, that was also a really freaking funny thing where he's like, I'm coming in just to take Nani. It's like, actually, your partners. And he's like, oh.
He's just like, all my plan ruined.
I gotta find a good picture of Jordan. I wonder if he has any good gifts.
We'll have to find one. But while we're doing that, Dan, I think you can wrap this all up for us.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. We will be back next week as we will every single week because as Paulie mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you're just stealing the clips, this is our podcast that we do every week. Paulie isn't jumping on 30 million podcasts. This is ours. So we will be here every single week. Most of the time, we're going to get back to our normal schedule of going,
and I get asked to do a lot of podcasts, guys. I'm a booked and busy kind of guy. So, yeah, the reason why your other challengers aren't on podcasts is because they don't get invited. They got nothing to talk about.
And we have Paulie each and every week. Most weeks we will be going live after the episode, but there'll be weeks like this one where we couldn't make it work. So we'll always get it out to you as soon as possible. As always, the best way to support the podcast, become a patron, realitypatron.com. Sign up for a month. If you don't like it, Fairplay will give you your money back. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like the bell, subscribe. That way you get notified every time we go live, and you can check out all the different coverage that's going on Reality After Show Network. And lastly, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts at, please take 2 seconds, like and review, give us 5 stars. It helps us out tremendously. That's going to do it for us, and we will see y'all next week.
Bye.